There's a subject that I thought that we had done a video on several years ago, but I think it's turned out that we actually didn't. Maybe we were thinking about it, but it didn't happen. So the topic is the Buddhist prayer wheel, or Tibetan Buddhist prayer wheel, but we have them in all across the Himalayas. We have them in Nepal, Bhutan, northern Arunachal Pradesh, Ladakh, Kashmir areas, northern China, Mongolia, southern Siberia. So we have them everywhere where we have Himalayan style, Tibetan style Buddhism. And really with prayer wheels, we have to look at it from the point of view of what are they, what just is the general description, what's the origin, and what are the variations. So just basically, most people think about and will refer to a handheld prayer wheel. So what you have is you have a bit of a stick held vertically, and above that you have a cylinder, and the cylinder can be made of any kind of metal, and it has a little bit of a chain and a weight on, it's like a 3, 4, 5-inch chain and a weight, counterbalance. And then inside of the cylinder are paper mantras and dharanis, and often it is what's called the Mani mantra. And sometimes these prayer wheels are called Mani korlos, the mantra of Avalokiteshvara, Om Mani Padme Hum. So that's a basic prayer wheel and a handheld prayer wheel. But we also have table prayer wheels. We have water prayer wheels, wind prayer wheels. Then we have large architectural prayer wheel structures where you can have really a gigantic, almost like water tower sized prayer wheel inside of a building that's just designed, a square buildings just designed for practitioners to move around the building and spin the giant prayer wheel. We also have lamp-powered or light, electricity, or candle-powered prayer wheels. Now, we also have another type, and I think they originate pre-13th century. I'm not that familiar with them, but in China they are called the spinning Buddhist canon. And what they would do in China in the Tang period, possibly, or earlier, is they would collect all of the known Buddhist sutra books, maybe some tantras, and they would make copies of them, and then they would put them in a square or round giant wood enclosure, and then there would be some horizontal sticks that would be sticking out, which you can walk around and move and spin the entire Buddhist canon. So there's a number of different types of prayer wheels. And now, what about the origins? Well, the origins are a little bit sketchy. Some people think they might be from the mid-first millennium. Others think they might be late first millennium. But I think we do have evidence of some types of prayer wheels in Nepal. And then we have to look at, well, what really are the origins? Well, the textually. And it is said that the Mani Kabum makes reference. I don't recall having read that, but it's very possible. I don't recall that I've ever read completely the Mani Kabum. So it's possible there's reference in there. Now, there should also be a reference in some sutra text, which I am not aware of the name at this time, but I was taught in my teens by various Tibetan teachers that Shakyamuni Buddha created this concept of spinning a prayer wheel, and especially water wheels, and it's for the Naga spirits. So the Naga spirits are really related to water, very much so. Large glacial boulders, things like this, but especially water. And so Shakyamuni Buddha created the prayer wheels, whether they're handheld or water wheels or whatnot, for the Nagas, because it was considered that Nagas were quite lazy and uneducated, and this was a method that they could use to gain some merit, some Buddhist merit. clockwise direction, spinning this cylinder of mantras, dharanis, and auspicious verses. So I've not actually found the source text for this, but I have heard this from a number of Tibetan teachers. And when I say Tibetan teachers, I mean old school, not Nepal or India or modern China. I mean pre-59 Tibetan teachers. This is what they would say. But again, not yet identified the source text. So there's many different varieties of prayer wheels. Now, primarily they're used by lay people when they come and they go and they visit a temple or monastery where there might be many smaller sized prayer wheels that are affixed architecturally to the fence or to the gates or to the walls of a temple. And so this is very common, very, very popular with lay people to be spinning these. So we'll leave it there. You can subscribe. You can press like. You can join HAR on Patreon. You can make a donation on the homepage of Himalayan Art Resources.